Hello everyone. I trust that you're all well during this terrible time whilst the coronavirus pandemic rages on, and that you continue to stay safe and well. Thank you for inviting me to judge your two competitions, the Barrett for food, glorious food, and the Withell for travel. And that reminds me how much we've endured during the lockdown over the past several months. As usual, I've indicated how your pictures evoke memories or feelings, and then I've commented on technicalities with some suggestions for improvement where indicated. And now for the Withell Trophy for travel photography. Here I've looked for ways in which people might be shown to be enjoying travelling into different parts of the world, and how the pictures make me think about places I've visited, as well as the photographic skills of composition and technical expertise that are displayed. The first picture is Travel During Lockdown. It's a poignant pun and a reminder of this year, and it leads me to think about what might be coming and another likely lockdown during the winter. It's well exposed. To tell the story a little more, can I make a suggestion about composition? Would it have been possible to move a little bit to the left, without being knocked down, of course, so that we see the full S-shaped sweep of the road, unbroken by the lamp standard and sign on the right, and to get a little more of the figure with his paper in, standing beside the shop? 12 marks. Family outing. It's the unusual angle that makes this picture intriguing, and the behaviour of the family. It's interesting how they're keeping their distance and, like a child's cartoon, several things are going on at once. Is Dad cross with the little girl? Or is she telling him something about the shell she's carrying? The boy's playing on his phone. He's not party to the outing. And Mum is the Sherpa carrying the picnic. It's fascinating, the stories that pictures like this evoke. 16 marks. Rush, rush, rush. A cleverly presented picture which successfully shows the pace of life in a station, just as the title suggests. The viewpoint, the well-exposed and sharp focus on the sign, and the vista all combine to make this a successful image. Well captured and well done, 17 marks. Back before the heavens open. A great scene of weather and walking in the dales, reflecting a story of the day. Will the lady make it before it pours down? She's certainly stepping out and is properly dressed for the weather, along with the village, the threatening clouds, and the path leading our eye to the lady and beyond to the gate in the wall. Here I think the ubiquitous red anorak makes the picture, and a sharp focus, properly on the lady, makes her the centre of attention. Well done, 18 marks, highly commended. You don't have to travel far for scenery. Indeed not. I've heard it said many times this year, including by a local renowned photographer, that we're blessed with some stunning places to visit on our doorstep. There's delightful evening light from the sky reflecting in the pool where the ripples add interest, and those figures on the distant shore are so necessary to show travel. But why is the word photomatics in the picture, and has the software oversaturated colour in places? Unfortunately too, I just find that red sign and the plastic barriers catch and hold my eye. 13 marks. Into the blue, a great action shot. Here the fast shutter speed has captured and frozen the spume and spray, so can't you just feel the exhilaration of the yacht creaming along and carving through the water? It's an effective composition too. The rope leading up to the sail and the distant hills on the horizon give us a context for the voyage. Really well done, 20 marks, first place. Home is the sailor, home from the sea. I enjoy the idea of placing Cook with his chart and dividers into the scene, but has it worked? It's important when making a compilation to ensure all is right, and here his feet just aren't clean and sharp. Looks like he's floating. The colour of the sea is natural, but sadly there's an issue with the grass and the roofs. They're too light. 10 marks. Jama El Fna, Marrakesh. What a busy place. The viewpoint shows us what an interesting place it is and how new technology and old traditions meld. Look at the satellite dishes and the old market square. As the square is busy, so is the picture, with much going on in every quarter. The left half makes for a picture in itself, with the lines of the parasols and lamp standards holding our interest and attention. 11 marks. To a distant shore. If the title is right, it looks like he's got quite a way to go. I've often wondered how much energy is needed to propel what must be a top-heavy craft without falling off. I find the blue tones quite appealing. The blue haze is so characteristic of hilly places in high summer, and this, with the blue water, shows us what it's really like. Gentle travel comes to mind. 16 marks. Beach Buddies. An intriguing composition. The panoramic view gives us a feel for the breadth of the beach, and without the rock and the pool on the left, it would just be open space. Exposure is difficult when taken against the light. Maybe it's a tad too overexposed, but darkening it all would lose details of the fronts of the figures. So, some careful post-processing work is needed here to balance the tones properly. 15 marks. Setting the pace during lockdown. Can't you just sense the determination of the little girl on the bike striving to keep ahead of her mum? Well placed in the frame so that they have space to run and ride into. Well chosen shutter speed too, so the action is frozen and the figures are sharp. It's just a pity that the cone intrudes on the scene. Was it possible to photograph from a place that kept it out of the frame? It's something to think about when preparing again for shots like this. 14 marks. The pilgrimage. That looks a really awkward path for anyone a little hesitant on their legs. Still, pilgrimages were always fraught with difficulties. The colours look rather too vibrant, especially the blue of the sea, but the exposure to stop the white of the chapel burning out has been well handled. A thoughtful composition too, as it takes our attention along the causeway and holds our interest as the different people on it all have their own stories to tell. Well done, 16 marks. Where shall we go? Look carefully, and they're all pointing to the hilly landscape across the water, but it's a long way away. The picture poses some interesting questions. Why are they there? Is a successful hire business one where all the boats are out? How do you get to them without swimming? It looks like it could be hot out there, because most have an awning, but the big engine on the open boat, is that for water skiing? A lack of people doesn't suggest travel though, and I think too that there is just a little too much featureless sky. Would a letterbox shape help the composition? It's worth a try. 11 marks. Trekking in Madeira. I've never visited the island, but this makes me want to. Could I do the trek now? Well, I don't know. I wonder what time they set off. The shadows are long, so is it early? And it's cold. Just look at their coats with the hoods up and the early morning mist rising. What dramatic scenery. It's well photographed and composed with the lines of the rocky outcrops, the cliffs and the people all leading our attention to the distant path on the left. Perhaps a tad too much plain sky? Nevertheless, 18 marks, highly commended. And finally, Discover Derwentwater, and this is a rather different and effective perspective. The lines of the wake indicate travel, and they spread out very effectively to take us to different parts of the panorama. A very satisfying composition. Exposure and focus are really well handled, and I really enjoy looking at the distant hills. The muted tones remind me so much of the Lake District that I've missed this year. Well done, 19 marks and second place. To summarise then, highly commended is trekking in Madeira, an island I've never been to, but I used to enjoy walking in the hills, and I don't know whether I could do it now. I did enjoy the composition of this photograph with the lines of the hills and the rocky outcrops and the line of people all taking us towards the path on the left of the picture. Well worth commendation. Also highly commended is Back Before the Heavens Open. This picture reminds me of many happy visits to Swaledale and Wensleydale, and how often it looked just like this. The lady is certainly determined in the way she's stepping out. The photographer is focused on her, so she has our attention. I do hope she got back safe and dry. Second place went to Discover Derwentwater, and I thought here the wake behind the boat spreading out rather than converging in made this a very different and effective composition. It evoked many memories of trips in the past, and I really look forward to being able to go back to the Lake District at some time in the not too distant future. Well worth second place. And finally, first place I thought deservedly went to Into the Blue, mainly because it's a great action shot, and I like the way that the fume under spray caused by the bow wave of the boat has been really captured well. Important too that we get a sense of context, and I thought that the rope taking us up to the sail told us that this is indeed a yacht, and secondly that we can see horizon with hills in the distance that we're heading towards gives us a point of interest for the future. All in all, a cracking picture, well done and deserving of first place.